Folks, did the assassination of Charlie Kirk rock your world? If not, I can assure you it's going to change your world. If history is a good indicator, and it is, martyrs often ignite massive movements of change. You see, Charlie Kirk refused to be silenced. The haters killed him for it, and now they are shamelessly applauding his assassin. But the question is, what's next? Now, I have a prediction and a challenge for you, and I'm going to tell you a story I have never publicly told before. This is Brad Bright. Welcome to the God is Issue podcast, where I show how God is the issue in every issue. Why? Because we can trace all our human problems to our view of God. Now, if you find this podcast helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. And when subscribing, please don't forget to click on the bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new podcast. Now then, after the Catholic school shooting in Minneapolis a couple weeks ago, I promised you the hate and the violence was going to get worse. The last 2 weeks have already proved me right. How I wish I had been wrong, but I knew I wasn't. It's a frightening reality that we can speak the truth of Jesus with respect and compassion and still be called haters. Not because we do hateful things or speak hateful words, but because our core message of Jesus is counterculture. Our very existence threatens those who believe that their truth trumps God's truth. You know, just ask the Sadducees and Pharisees who screamed, "Crucify him." Just ask all the folks who stoned, beat, and jailed the Apostle Paul on numerous occasions. Folks, the darkness in this world is doubling down and lashing out. You've seen it. Last week, Irina, a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, was stabbed from behind while sitting on a commuter train in Charlotte looking down at her phone. The man, DeCarlos Brown, shouted, "I got that white girl," after he had stabbed her. His hate-obsessed mind drove him to violence. Almost as bad as the fact that those around Irina just sat there. They did nothing. We live in a culture of darkness and fear. Now, Charlie Kirk was murdered just after he declared his love for Jesus and for people. I did not know Charlie personally, but I greatly respected him. He was a man of deep faith, great courage, and towering intellect who loved Jesus and loved his country. You know, folks who hate Jesus and who hate America hated Charlie because they could not refute his logic, not face to face anyway. The best they could do was scream at him, assault him, and finally they killed him. Charlie was a unique blend of faith, common sense, and good old-fashioned decency. He wasn't afraid of tough questions. He welcomed them because he loved students, whether they agreed with him or not. Although he never finished college, he was really smart. That's why secular progressives feared him. He responded to questions with common sense and authenticity. He listened. He was direct. He was respectful. He was a devout follower of Jesus. We could learn a lot from Charlie about how to dialogue with people who hate us. Charlie welcomed dialogue with an open heart. But you know what? Evil cannot stand real dialogue. Intolerance will not permit any ideas to be voiced but its own. Intolerance has far more to do with your willingness to listen than with the content of your beliefs. Never forget that. Hate intimidates, harasses, and shouts down all opposing views. It may say, "Let's have a conversation," but then it denounces you as a racist, a Nazi, or a hater, anything to silence you. You see, when two-way dialogue occurs, there's a chance that light might leak through and expose the hate lurking in the shadows. You see, Charlie challenged young people to dialogue, think, and decide for themselves what's true. Hate was forced to come out of the shadows and take desperate action. Charlie had to be silenced. America saw what real hate looks like. Hate tries to silence those who disagree. And that's how you can tell if it's hate. In my book, God is the Issue, I talk about the 8 rules of social change. One of them is know your enemy. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that I've never told publicly before, but I think the time has come. Listen and learn about our enemy. During my college years in Chicago, a dear friend of my mom, Gladys, made me a part of her family. I'd go up to their place on the weekends and hang out. Now, she was the Illinois state coordinator for a well-known political group who was working to defeat the deceptively named Equal Rights Amendment. She told me that one weekend she went down to the University of Illinois in Urbana, where feminists were staging a rally promoting the Equal Rights Amendment. She told me how she ended up in a meeting of about 20 of the key feminist leaders. They didn't know who she was, and she said she had no idea why they let her in, but they did. So she sat and listened. Folks, this is what she heard. We are Marxists, committed to the overthrow of America. If we cannot take over peacefully, then blood will run in the streets. It seems they were serious, deadly serious. I've known ever since that day what was coming. Folks, Marxists have a moral code, and this is it. Anything that advances my cause is a moral imperative. Anything that impedes my cause is a moral evil. The end justifies the means, period. That's their moral code. That's what you get when you replace love your neighbor with survival of the fittest in education. Now, after the Jesus movement sucked the energy out of the radical movement of the 60s, those same godless revolutionaries began rebuilding in the shadows. For decades, they patiently advanced their agenda on college campuses across the country. But then Charlie Kirk showed up. On campus after campus after campus, he articulated a compelling counter message and engaged students in authentic two-way conversation. So, folks, I'm not at all surprised that someone took out Charlie Kirk. It was only a matter of time. And let me say gravely, Charlie Kirk will not be the last one to go down. The next phase of the culture war has begun. This is the true legacy of those Marxist feminists who gathered that day at the University of Illinois. And folks, there will be a winner and there will be a loser. The secular left is consumed by hate, hate of God, hate of biblical values, and especially hate of anyone who dares to question their dogma. But I really don't think they realize what just happened. They have now unintentionally unleashed a tsunami into the darkness. I have no doubt that Charlie's untimely death will result in many, many young people rising up to replace him, to stand in his shoes, to fill the gap he left. That's what happens when you create a martyr. You see, I believe what the enemy of our souls intended for evil, God will use to raise up an army of young people who love Jesus and who love what our founding fathers hoped America would become. A shining light on a hill. I believe that Charlie's death will be the match that ignites that flame. Now, secular progressives hated Charlie, but they struck him down too late. Just like they struck down Martin Luther King too late. By creating a martyr, they just lit a fire that they will not be able to extinguish. Many young leaders will rise from Charlie's ashes. Mark my words. Charlie's death will be the Lexington and Concord of this generation. The sound of his assassin's bullet will be the shot heard around the world. Folks, we are in a spiritual battle. The enemy is real, but he's no match for the Prince of Peace, the King of Kings, the Creator God. Are you willing to let his light shine in the darkness through you, even if it makes you a target? Are you willing to act for the sake of your kids and grandkids? Forget retirement, I have. Cancer may kill me yet, but I'm not waiting for death to find me at home. It's going to have to come and get me. So folks, be strong and courageous at home, in the office, and at the grocery store. Look for opportunities to make God the issue wherever you go. Charlie did, even on the very last day of his life. Folks, we're at war. The fight is not between Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, blacks and whites. It's a battle between those who believe in the supernatural and those who don't. It's a cosmic conflict between those who believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and those who deny him. Charlie did his part. It's time for us to take it up a notch and do ours. God is the issue in every issue. This is Brad Bright. Thanks for joining me today, and God bless. And please remember to keep Charlie's wife and 2 young daughters in your prayers today and in the days to come. Those precious little girls just lost their daddy.